Welcome to the final whistle, everybody. It's that time. Yes, one of your favorite late night shows, where we do it all here on the Bama Standard. It's the final whistle. And as you can tell, we got the all-star panel, minus a few too. Let me check on the co-host, Mr. Chris James. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good, man. Just just a little shook up a little bit, but other than that, I'm here.
We're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it. And ladies and gentlemen, our final whistle top fan analyst, Mr. Luce John. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. Just happy to be here, ready to get it on.
Happy to be here. And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. King of Content, Kick.com, gamer. I mean, he does it all. Coach Smoot, how are you doing, brothers?
I'm good, man. I'm kind of hyped tonight. In spite of the circumstances, I'm feeling good and just grateful to be here. Like Lucian said, people say that, but I really mean it today. Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, can he make it 3 weeks in a row with the best OnlyFans content? I mean, Mr. Ty Hayes, reach around the table sports. I mean, this guy just does it all. Mr. Ty Hayes, how are you doing today, sir?
Man, just excited to talk football, ready to talk about the game we saw this past weekend, ready to turn our attention to Texas A&M because, guys, I think that maybe Alabama's biggest test left on the schedule will be this weekend, so I'm excited to get into it.
I agree. But before we get in, we want to, kind of discuss some sad news, a bit of sad news. Ray Hudson, former Alabama running back. I played with him. Chris played with him. I mean, this guy, he passed this evening. Just wanted to say our condolences to his family, his friends. We're praying for them. And I'll give my 2 cents about Ray. Ray R.I.P. But, ever since I met him, he was like a burst of energy, man. And he would always talk about Bonifay, Florida. Like, it was like he hyped it up. And it's nothing but a small country town in Florida. But the way he talked about Bonifay, every time I was around him, he made you want to go down there. He made you want to fish, But on the field, man, this guy, I say if he had never got hurt my sophomore year, man, that Kentucky game, he was so quick, so fast on the field. I mean, it was just unreal. So, Chris, you got anything you want to say regarding Ray Hudson?
Yeah, man, Ray was one of the most genuine guys you'll ever meet, man. Straight country. We came in the same recruiting class back in 2000. We both came in as cornerbacks. After that following spring that we both redshirted, he moved to running back and I moved to safety. And we played, went ahead and proceeded to play the next 4 years together, on special teams, returning kicks and everything together, man. And dude, man, he was a freak athlete. And a lot of people didn't know he was a Major League Baseball prospect too. But he ended up not playing at Bama. We both were going to play baseball in college, but when Fran came in, that kind of took that away. His first year there, but he was genuine, man. Just a good dude, man. That'll give you the shirt off his back. Country is all get out, but just he loved people and people love Ray. And just to hear this news, man, this is my third teammate out of that 2001 backfield that passed away within the last couple of years, within the last year and a half or so. Last year, ain't it? I think within the last year. Antonio Beard, Ahmad Galloway, and Ray. That's 3 backs from the 01 team, man. And I'm just still in disbelief, man.
Anybody else? Want to say anything? Lushawn, Ty Hayes, Coach Smoot. If not, we can keep it rolling. But
I would say I think about just the memories of seeing that guy, like you said, the explosiveness on the field, man. I wasn't a big football follower during those years. I was dialed into basketball, AAU basketball. I was barely paying attention to Alabama football between 2000 to 2006, maybe.
Yeah.
That was my years of just, I was all about basketball more than anything. Football was just a Saturday thing for me. But I do remember the highlights, man. The kid was quick. And that knee injury was one that always, I that picture in my head, as a football player, you experience injuries, and I always seen that injury, and it kind of, that's how I remember them. It's kind of a bad way to remember, but I do remember always hearing about him being a great teammate, him being just country. And I knew a dude from Bonifay, Florida, bro, and they prideful about that area, man. It's
Love
like,
Bonifay.
you would think, like you said, you would think it was Miami the way they brag about it, but man, rest in peace, man. And just that might give the team a little bit of motivation to play either this weekend. Do it for Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to ever meet him, unfortunately, but you always hate to hear about the stars that kind of shine the brightest in those situations like that. Someone who's so very obviously touched not only his teammates, but just from hearing y'all speak about him, the people around him. And it's always unfortunate when those people are the people you hear this unfortunate news about. So thoughts and prayers out to his family, and just tragic news.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap it up right there. Like we said, we want to give our condolences, our prayers to the Hudson family, his family, his parents. Just got to enjoy life, and it's just a moment where you just want to enjoy all your family, loved ones, and don't take it for granted, like Coach Smook said. So on to our next topic. So
turning the page. Come on.
Time to turn the page. Let's get a little juice.
Roll Tide, y'all. Let's ramp it up a little bit.
Let's do this for Ray. Ray would want us to have high energy. He would want us to go out there and dominate and keep it moving for the show. So we're gonna bring the juice like we always do here at the Final Whistle in memory of Ray. So listen, guys, Ty, Lushawn, Coach Smoot, Chris James. We had a big road win versus Mississippi State. And listen, like I keep saying, I know I'm going to get to our first topic, but I want to just talk about how this team just keeps progressing. They continue to keep coming together. Reese Milrose kind of getting on the same page. We still are work in progress. And, I just kind of want to get your thoughts, Ty. I'm going to go Ty, Lushawn, Chris, Coach Smoot. Just to kind of recap that Mississippi State game, that late kickoff down there in Starkville.
Yeah, kickoff time was weird. 8:00. That was something that I absolutely hated, waiting all day long just to get to that point in the day. But just doing a recap of the game, Alabama came out a little bit flat. But guys, I got to remain impressed by this defense. Caleb Downs, I thought, had his best game. He ended up with the interception, but he was real active. There was one tackle that he probably wishes he would have had back, and it was actually one of the runs that was probably a big reason for success on a Mississippi State drive. There was a big first down. But other than that, Caleb Downs was fantastic. His progression is something that's great to see. You look at the inside linebackers, and guys, Campbell, I think, is the guy that whenever Lawson is healthy, Lawson and Campbell is a duo that I just think is going to be tough. Now, Campbell is going to have those situations where he has mistakes, but Campbell's mistakes are mistakes that derive from inexperience as opposed to mistakes that derive from inability, right? And I'll take mistakes that derive from inexperience because in theory, with experience, those get fixed. I think y'all all know the big run I'm talking about. He ended up darting to the left. He went to his left. Play went to his right for a 20-yard run. Other than that, the defense, I think, is really playing well. We're going to talk about the defense and a unit in particular here in a little bit. Offensively, they played well. I don't think they showed their hand, but the one thing I will say that I liked before I pass it away, Jalen didn't pass for a lot of yards, but he is actually going from read 1 to read 2. In this game, I was really encouraged by how often he didn't force a throw, right? Like, I thought his decision-making this game was really, really good. He made throws that were decisive, good positions, and Alabama gets a big win.
I like it. Lushawn, your thoughts about the Mississippi State games, highlights?
Like Ty said, we came out a little bit flat, but we responded after some much needed motivation, which I think, especially you, Matt, you always love a mean Saban. I think that kind of motivated the players. I think that just kind of breathed life. I mean, our defense carrying it on, man. Malachi Moore showing up big in the backfield. I felt like I seen 13 everywhere on the field. His intensity was there, and he kept it live when the offense was on the field as well. And I'm gonna have to give it to Marshall too on the defensive side. He played tough.
He played his best game.
Showed up,
yeah,
for sure. And he was physical. Offensively, I liked our tight end. Our tight ends did a lot. I feel that they blocked, and that was something that we were kind of shaky about at the beginning of the season. But they've really stepped up in these last couple of games. But Saturday is going to be a real test, and I think I know we're going to get into that later, but I think our tight ends are going to be huge Saturday.
I like it. Chris, James, your thoughts?
I came like we started off kind of flat offensively or whatnot, but that defense, man, their intensity the whole game. Minus a couple of plays, like one where they ran a touchdown and Campbell kind of overplayed it instead of kind of staying home and filling in. Other than that, man, it's hard to kind of nitpick on the defensive performance. Like if we play this way, we can only continue to get better from here. And offensively, it seems like we're kind of gelling together. It's like our defense is so good right now that all our offense has to do is keep the car on the road. Don't turn the ball over. Move the chains. Get points on the board, even if it's 3. Just put whenever we have the opportunity to put points on the board, and that's good, man. I mean, I was impressed. Campbell, man, is a dog. Downs is a dog. Those corners, the pressure. I like the pressure we're getting off the edge. So I was pleased, man. And like I said, offensively, I felt like we were better. Besides that first series, those sacks, but we kind of seemed to get together and come around as a total effort, man. And Riker's kicking the heck out the ball, and that's encouraging to see because we're going to need that when we go to College Station this weekend. I just look forward to a knockdown drag out, and the first team to blink, loses. So, but I feel confident going into College Station this weekend and reestablish our footprint like we used to dominate when they first got in the conference down there. So let's get it, man.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it to Coach Smoot. Coach Smoot, what are your thoughts regarding the Tide in Starkville?
I think that was probably the best case scenario happening in that game. Yes, you probably would want the offense to get those 14 points in the second half that got kind of taken away from us and forced us into those field goals. But honestly, the ball never stopped moving on the offensive side after the first drive. We kind of moved the ball up and down the field at will. A lot of people complain about the amount of passing attempts we had. I can't complain about it because there were actually 18 or 19. I think it was 19 dialed up pass plays. He only had 12 actual pass attempts. 11 of them, really 11 of them were completed. So I mean, the guy ball security I know was a thing preached coming into this game. Being a road game, Mississippi State is loud. This is Mississippi State's opportunity to come off of their losing skid, opportunity to upset Alabama. This was a big game for Mississippi State, and Jalen Miro did everything he did to do what everybody asked him to do at the beginning of the season, and that was come in and manage the game. 0 turnovers, guys. 81% completion percentage. No interceptions. 100 plus passing yards, 100 yards, almost 100 rushing yards on the ground. From a balanced play calling system. Yes, you would love to see him take a few more opportunities, but in that situation, you up by 14. What's the point? Why even chance it? Why even put yourself make yourself uncomfortable when you've been comfortable the whole game, even with the early sacks? I feel like Jalen Miro was being accountable, and he was accountable for every decision that was made. There was no confusion in his approach to the game, and that gives me a lot more confidence coming into an away game against A&M, being that he had an earlier test. Skill-wise, this was his first test. Personnel-wise, this was his first test. And then Texas this year really re-solidified that similar look, that similar talent, that similar athleticism he got to deal with. He was able to see that earlier against Texas. So I like our chances here going into College Station, even though it's an away game. I'm just glad it's not a night game. That's what I am glad about.
Me too. Thank you, God. It's 2:30. And, for me, I kind of rounded up. I know I kind of started off. I think this was a great test for Alabama going into College Station. Going on the road, you got all the adversity. I mean, you're playing dang near at midnight. You got cowbells ringing galore. This is Milroe's really first big road test this season. He didn't play the South Florida game. So yeah, we do need to get Justice Haynes some snaps. But yeah, I think it is coming. But I just think this was a good pre-test. We used to take pre-tests back in the day in elementary school. I think this was a good pre-test for us going into College Station to kind of get out some things. We're going to be really hyper-focused. We got, like Coach Lushan said, we got Mean Saban. We got all these guys. We got everything going forward. And I think with some of the speed that Mississippi State presented with number 7, their receivers going back to South Florida, those Florida boys playing Ole Miss. I think us going into College Station really gives us, I think we're more prepared or better prepared than what we can be if we hadn't had this journey. So that's going to lead us to our next topic. And, I'm a wide out, so it's all about the wide receivers. Questions. Is Alabama wide receiver production, is it worrying you guys? I'm going to start with Coach Smook. Let's try to do
No,
my bad. Coach Smook,
I purposely asked to go last.
You going last, my bad.
We started off.
Yes.
My bad. Chris, you started off. Is Alabama wide receivers worrying us, and how much should we be concerned with the lack of production?
Well, the thing about it is they can't throw the ball to themselves, and they also, at the same time, they can't draw up plays for themselves. So it's not that the production I'm worried about. I'm worried about the production not because of the players, but more so because of the play calls. Because, for example, there's a lot of times Saturday night I didn't see Jermaine Burton out there on the field. Normally we take shots with him, and we didn't do that from what I saw Saturday. And it's like no continuation of receivers being in the game. It's like it's just constant rotation. So it's kind of hard to get in a groove. It's like we're doing a wide receiver by committee. That's what it seems like. And whoever's out there, that's who's going to run this route. It's nothing. You remember when Amari Cooper was out there? He was out there on third downs. It was like third downs where Jermaine Burton was out there. I was like, why? But so it's not on them. I'm blaming. It's on Reese because, dude, you gotta get your dudes involved, man. You gotta get those guys. And it seems like Burton was just turning the corner. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta feed guys like that. You can't. I don't know, man. It's like I wasn't happy with the distribution of the ball Saturday night. I mean, I can't complain of 40-17 wins, a 40-17 win, no matter how you get it. But I would love to see those guys get more involved because you got to understand, man, these receivers we're trying to recruit, looking at this right now. I think our leading receiver through 5 games, 189 yards. That's not even 40 yards a game. You know what I'm saying? So it's more so dialed towards the offensive coordinator because whenever they do get their chance, they make plays. You got to feed those guys, man. You got to feed those guys. Give Milroe Reese he's comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? Give him, put him on the run, put him on the edge, boot him out, let him take shots. He's best at throwing the ball downfield. Take shots, man. You got Burton, you got Bench, you got Bun. Those guys get behind DBs like it's nothing. Take shots with those guys. That's my only concern. So it's nothing on the receivers. It's more so on the play calls.
Lushan.
To piggyback off kind of what Chris was saying, it's the scheme. I'm not sure. I think a whole bunch of people would agree with me in saying that Tommy Reese sometimes does not appear to have the best outlook on what needs to be done in the game. Now, I'm not down there. I'm not seeing what he's seeing, but we have some stud, highly talented receivers on this team. And we know Jalen Milroe can throw. Everybody knows that. If you don't know that or agree with that in Bama Nation, there's a problem. The young man can play. And I think given the right circumstance, the right set of plays, he's going to deliver. And I think that's going to be this weekend. I think the way our receivers match up against their DBs, it's not a contest. The way we can get our guys off the ball in an open space, if our offensive line holds up, Jalen Miller's going to have a big weekend, and he's going to silence the rest of Bama Nation that doubt him.
I agree. Ty Hayes.
So, look, I don't think that the wide receivers are the issue by any stretch of the imagination, because I'm going through here, and guys, if I look, and I'm not going to compare. So before I say this, understand, I'm not comparing Alabama's passing attack to any of these teams because they're different. But the number 2 passing attack in the nation right now is Washington State. Cam Ward is out there balling. But if I look at their receiving stats, the average is 13.8. If I go over to Alabama at the average receiving stats, it's 14.4. Right? So what that tells me is that it's not that the wide receiver room is outside the norm. I think the wide receivers are very talented, and I think what's more is if you get your hands on some all-22 film, they're getting open pretty consistently. And what I think is more is I'm actually seeing wide receivers find separation this year. We didn't see that last year, right? Like last year, there was points where they had to be schemed open. This year, that's not the case. I mean, there are multiple guys. Now, Chris, you said something that I really haven't thought much about in terms of the negative implication of it, but I think you actually hit the nail on the head when you talked about the wide receiver by committee. I think that can be a detriment to this wide receiver room, because you have a new quarterback who's still trying to get himself ironed out in the passing game. Tommy Reese has been up, down, all around. He certainly hasn't been as sure of himself as I'd like to see. Where's all the pre-snap motion we saw at Notre Dame? We know Alabama does this. And in fact, one of the biggest plays from that game was a play on a 3rd down where they sent Amari Niblack on a motion before sending him on the deep crosser. Jalen Milroe hit him, but that motion opened up the defense. We have to remember, Tommy Reese is young as well. He's never had a quarterback with Jalen Milroe's skill set. And when you combine the fact that Jalen Milroe is new, Tommy Reese is new, and we keep cycling in all these different wide receivers, how is anybody supposed to get comfortable with any sort of rotation from quarterback to offensive coordinator? Like it's multi-layered at a certain point. And I get it. There are so many guys you want to feed the ball because of the transfer portal. I have to wonder, guys, if we're more inclined to spread the ball around to try and get all these guys touches. One, they're very talented because of the existence of the transfer portal. Think of all the guys we've seen leave that wide receiver room. Now, I'm not saying any of them would be coming in here being slam dunk guys. But at the same time, Chris, I think you've hit a great point. I think that the talent in the room isn't a question. The fact that there's so much new. And then we have to remember, they didn't even play Jalen in the damn USF game. So that's a whole other 4 quarters of reps he didn't get. Like, there's just so much new, and there's no sort of symbiosis right now. And that, I think, is problematic. So, no, I don't think the wide receivers are problematic. I think the lack of symbiosis from top down is problematic.
I like it. So I'm going to take a different approach.
Brought to you by Shady Mile.
Shady Mile. I like it. Shady Mile. I'm going to take it opposite of Shady Mile and go a little bit more of a different approach.
Green Mile?
Yeah, the green mile. The gold mile, the positive mile. I actually think this is by design, guys. I think this is by design. I think we didn't play Burton because we're saving him for Texas A&M. I think that was by design. I think The offense has not been so many plays because we're still, before we unleash those plays, we need to make sure Miro is, has progressed in intermediate throws, all those things that where Reese can get comfortable with them. And I'm gonna take it a different approach. I think, listen, if you got a whole bunch of receivers coming from playing receiver, the receiver room, long as we're getting touches, it's going to come down to who's got the hot hand each week anyway. So I'm not in practice. I can't say, who's going to be. I know it looks like a lot of changeover, but it tends to be pretty consistent. Burton's going to be out there. Bond's going to be out there. Prentice, Benson, those guys are going to be out there. So to me, I just think it's all coming. I just think it's a work in progress. Like I said, listen, this is a work in progress. Reese is understanding Milro's understanding Reese, and I think you're going to see a lot of it, like Lushawn said, versus Texas A&M game. I think this has been kind of a design to really have Texas A&M not trying to give all the sauce, but they're going to come in really overconfident, and they're going to see stuff that they haven't seen on tape come Saturday, where they're not going to be able to game plan for a totally different creative scheme style. And I think it's all by design, in my opinion. So that's why I said I kind of have a different approach, a different mindset as to why, the receivers or people are complaining about the production. But as a receiver, as long as you're getting touches, I'm glad. As long as I can say I caught the ball here and there. Listen, I think, because everybody knows it's a work in progress. We don't have Bryce Young back there. We have a new OC. We have a new quarterback. It's still a work in progress, and it's going to come on down the line. So that's my 2 cents. Smoot, you want to go?
Yes, sir. Let me get this, because I've been waiting for this. I want to show y'all some very strong similarities to similar situation Alabama came into this year. We came into this year with a quarterback competition similar to the 2016. You have your athletic quarterback in Jalen Hurts. You have your supposed to be prototypical quarterback in Ty Simpson, a.k.a. Blake Barnett. And then you have a third guy who's everybody saying because he's been there, in Ty Buckner. This is your 3 quarterback competition. You come out, you look at the play calling style that we tried to force on Miro in the second game of the season. It did not match up for the personnel and the way we need to use this personnel. We've put Miro in passing situations early in that second half, and in a point where we didn't need to. And before I continue, let me get these super chats. David Kendall, shout out to you for the $5 super chat. He said the offensive play calls Reese is calling are actually Kiffin's, who formulated the offense, and Sark tweet. I'm not going to say that it's the same offensive play call, but the grand scheme of things, I believe, is definitely based off of that system that Sarkisian.
Can I say something on this, actually?
Go ahead.
Because I actually have a video on my channel breaking down the last game Steve Sarkisian called, right? Minzy in the house. Thank you for the $10 donation. Says just showing love, fellas. Appreciate you all. Roll Tide. Thank you for being in here, man.
Appreciate you.
But what I'll say real quick about this is, it's the same offense, but do we not remember all the pre-snap motion Sark was calling? Like, I get it. Yes, it's a wide range of offense. We've seen Brian DeBall play call within this offense. We've seen Bill O'Brien play call within this offense. We've seen Mike Locksley play call within this offense. It's an offense built so that they can switch offensive coordinators without having to switch offenses, because Bama recycles coaches so much, because Nick Saban is the GOAT at coach rehabilitation. So yes, it's the same offense, but we also need to understand what Steve Sarkisian and Kiffin did to this Bama offense is give them an offense that has got a lot of possibilities. They were using pre-snap motion heavy with Steve Sarkisian. Remember Devontae Smith and those orbit motions, and they would just kill teams with it. We haven't seen any of that.
Well,
so you're not wrong, but
and the thing is, I think because of the skill set, just the reasons you all named, the amount of talent in that room, when Smitty was schemed into that into that offense, we had guys. We were 5 receivers. That's all we knew. 5 receivers that year. That's all we knew, including the tight end. This year we're at least 8 or 9 deep. Where if 2-3 guys go down, we're not hurting anywhere. So I believe the message for this year was we have to be able to open up the run game in order for you all to get a shot anyway. Bryce was the best quarterback to ever play college football, in my opinion. You talking about the situation he was thrown into and the type of production he was able to do his first year as a full-time starter. You won't ever see that again. The next time we see that may be Julian Sayans. Hopefully, pray to God, but he'll have enough talent and hopefully enough another year with a competent coordinator that he doesn't have to be in those situations. But that's another story for another day. So numbers I want to throw at y'all. The top 3 receivers for that year, Jalen Hurts was the starter, and we had to run similar style play calling, not necessarily offense, but play calling, leaning on the defense, relying on your defense, and having to lean on the run and hope that the run game gets started so it can open up your pass game. The top 3 receivers were Calvin Ridley, Ardarius Stewart, O.J. Howard, right? Calvin Ridley, first game, guess how many receptions Calvin Ridley had? 2. Guess how many he had second game? I think it was like 4. And then he didn't break out to the third game of the season. And then it was multiple games where he didn't even have touchdowns that year when Jalen Hurts was the quarterback. O.J. Howard, 45 receptions. He was the 3rd leading receiver on the team. I see the same trend happen with Amari Knee-Black. You see the targets going to Knee-Black. You got a primary guy in Burton. You got your secondary guy in Bonds. You got guys like Malik Benson who can be primary. You got guys like Jalen Hale who can be your secondary. Like, it's too many options to try and force it when your offensive line hasn't gotten together. And I think Mississippi State, the way we played 4 quarters in Mississippi State in the trenches on the offensive line, especially on the interior between Dalcourt and the left guard, Ferg and Booker, I think we're getting rotation there. I don't remember that because
Booker coming off an injury.
Yeah, that whole left side, that they had a 3-man rotation on the left side. I don't know if y'all noticed it, but Pritchett got in there too. And so that had to be solidified before we started forcing the pass game. And even when we did call the pass plays, guys, Milroe's patience and his ability to trust his protection has improved so much. It didn't look like that against Texas. And we're going to see a similar defensive pressure, defensive front against A&M. I think Milroe's confidence going into this game is off the charts because he knows he's seen his team last year. They had him when he was green. Now he has some real snaps. This is not going to be the same type of game against A&M. And the crowd will affect it. The crowd will affect it, but I don't think it'll affect it that much.
And he had 4 turnovers last year and he still won the game.
With man.
LeBron as his OC. So I'm not trying to get everybody all excited. I want to keep everybody down, but I'm just saying, don't be surprised you see Bama come out there looking like, because you got to think as a defensive coordinator, you like, man, I got a game plan for this Jalen Hale Burton combination. You're like, we're so multiple offensively in the receiver. It's going to drive defenses that try to pick up on tendencies on Alabama crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know. It's like Jalen Hale. Ole Miss wasn't expecting Jalen Hale to be going deep and catching the pass. Like, you never know how we're going to hit you. So I'm just I think of it more of as a kind of like, I think it plays more in our advantages moving forward, the more progression Reese and Milroe gets. Chris, what were you going to say?
No, I was looking at the super chat from James Amina. Thanks, James. I just want to acknowledge that. And David Kendall again. Appreciate you, James. Thank you for tuning in.
Appreciate it.
Hey, can I throw another quick stat out there, y'all? When it came
to
that,
let little Sean go. Then
go ahead.
I think we need to throw in another little wrinkle, and I think we might actually see it this weekend, the jet sweep. Because I feel like we got some dudes on this team, especially in our receiver room, specifically Kendrick Law. And I even think Kobe Prentice, the way he can move about through players. I think, and we kind of saw, I forget which game, I think it was the South Florida game, and it was rainy, so we didn't actually get to see the play ran all the way through. But I feel like those two might actually get to see some flashes in the jet sweep.
I agree. I would love to see the Wildcat with like Law and all them guys and Haynes, but
Milroe is the Wildcat.
I know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you kind of killing your personnel then.
But I'm saying, listen,
with the snaps we struggling, the way we snapping right now, I don't want nobody else back there.
Starting to beat most of them out. Then now they gotta the defense. Somebody gotta go out there with them. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, Ty, but I would like to see us take some snaps up underneath the center and get some play action going.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some stretch, some zone, some stretch.
I swear to Christ, I'm going to start a petition to make it illegal to do a 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 from the gun. I am going to break something.
Man, I don't want to talk about that.
You see, it only happened twice. It only happened twice when we were third.
Oh no, it's not just Bama. I watched Tennessee do it with a 6'5" quarterback on 4th and 1, and they went from the gun, and I almost kicked a wall in. And I didn't have any dog in that fight. I just was mad that it happened. Like, what are we doing?
Smoot,
Pete Carroll's fault.
I want to throw these Jalen Hurts stats at y'all real quick for that season. We didn't lose a game until we got to the national championship against the best team in the nation at that point. Well, I won't say the best team, the most complete team. They had the more experienced team. They had the complete quarterback. They had the complete offense. That was Clemson in the national championship. Blake Sims started that year. Jalen Hurts 6 of 11 in the first game against USC, 23 of 36 against West Kentucky. Like Jalen Milroe against Middle Tennessee State. Similar numbers, similar play calling style, a similar amount of attempts. When we got in the SEC play, Jalen Hurts' first meaningful SEC game, big SEC game was against Arkansas. They had a ranked defense that year. I think they was like in the top 10 that year. He had 17 pass attempts. We won that game. And then the next game against Tennessee, who didn't mind going to that man coverage. Y'all remember they didn't mind playing man, and Jalen Hurts broke out that game. The numbers wasn't there, but we saw him testing those one-on-ones. I think there's a psychological method to Saban's approach and his passing game coming into this Texas A&M game that we're just kind of like overlooking because of what's happening right now.
I agree. That's why I say it's all about design. Chris,
would you guys say that Milroe right now, as far as a pass, is ahead of what Jalen was at that time? I think so.
I think so. Yeah,
by far.
By far. Jalen Hurts. Yeah. Side by side. Yeah.
By far. Agree. And I mean, like I'm considering the amount of games under the belts, because you think about it, this is Milroe's 5th game. He didn't play USF game. Right. So he had the one start against A&M as a starter. Well, Arkansas, he finished it, but but yeah, so yeah, so I mean, this is his 5th game. He didn't play the full game against Middle Tennessee State. This is his 5th game.
And I don't think Jalen became a great passer until 2018 when he was the backup, when he learned from Dan Eno.
Tua
he came in to beat Georgia. Yeah, you had no choice but to get better with playing with Tua.
Right.
I think they helped Mac Jones too while we at it.
Yeah, I think so too. Ty?
You got a quarterback coach there too, though.
Donna says, Saban, in a noisy environment, you have to yell the snap instead of clap, and he was concerned the center wouldn't hear Jalen. Yeah, for sure. I think that you can do ways around that, but I definitely think there is something to that, especially the noise there. I'll tell y'all what's the more pressing situation to me, right? We have 2 discussions we need to get to, gentlemen. First and foremost, the game we have this coming up weekend, because I do truly believe that, I thought LSU might be the biggest test on the schedule. I don't know what that LSU defense is. I have questions about LSU. A&M, though, guys, I think is really good. And one of the reasons A&M is so good is that defensive front. But I think before we can fully turn our attention to the A&M defensive front, we may have some differing opinions on how good the Alabama defensive front is. So I think we need to be talking about this right here because – personally, I think the Alabama defense is playing at a really high level, but are they getting pushed around? Is the defensive line too soft? It's a question we asked in the title. It's a question we're going to discuss. Matt, as always, man, I want to hear from you.
If you would have asked me this question after the Texas game, I would have said yes. Since it's been 3 games since then, I'm not going to say they're soft. I just think they're playing more improved, better, a lot more physical, and they're impacting the quarterback. They're impacting the run game. I think they're playing a whole lot better. So I'm not going to say they're soft. I'm just going to say they're playing a whole lot better, coming from that Texas game. I just think that Texas game, did so much for us, as a team, having that early season loss. And I think these guys are holding each other accountable. They're coming. Guys, if you didn't watch the game Saturday, 47, James Smith came into the game when Latham went down and went straight to the quarterback. I said, who is 47?
Yeah, in the text, in the group text.
In the group, I said, who is 47? I'm like, this guy's unreal. Latham's coming along. Keenan is a dog. You already know Dallas Turner, all those guys. I think a Boygby's starting to get his footing there. I think we're starting to get the right Damon Payne. I think we're starting to get the right core guys. But listen, I was hard on my guy Freddie at first, coming after that Texas game. But I think they're getting it right, and I think they're starting to gel moving forward. So that's my 2 cents, Ty.
Yeah, look, I think the defensive line is playing well, and I know that there were some questions about this game right here, but I did want to take a few things into perspective. One, I was rewatching that game, and there were 3 big gains Mississippi State got on the ground that, to me, were just an extension of maybe a little bit of over-aggression, not being too soft. There was one time where Will Rogers was able to hit a first down with his legs, and it came because Jaheim Otis had his guy beat, and he did an aggressive move to get to the inside to get around him, and Will Rogers had no other choice but to hit the ground running and get out of the situation. That was one that went for 11. They also had a long of 29. If I take that away, they had 125 yards on 34 carries, averaging 3.67. And the one thing I will say, a lot of those yards came in the second half when they started running that ball, especially as they opened up with the ball in the second half. They ran it very effectively. That's because they were down so much. Alabama was in pass prevent, right? They were not worried about stopping the run. They were more worried about keeping everything in front of them because we're beating you by an arm and a leg. We don't have to worry about stopping you for 1 yard a carry. I think the defensive front is playing really well. And look, could they be playing better? Yes, I will grant you that, because I think this group has a different level to them, and I think we're just seeing them scratch the surface.
Lushawn?
I've been one of the more critical people on our defensive line play earlier this season. I would say they're coming along, but looking at some of these stats over here, the tackle for loss. And I know it's good that, the linebackers are getting theirs and the DBs are playing good, but I'm a bigger guy. I'm a fan of our big uglies up front. I feel like they can still wreak a lot more havoc than they have been. I mean, we've seen it time and time again, and we have yet to have, I'm going to say 3. I mean, we've seen a mix of maybe 1 solid 2 guys, but I'm saying 3 solid dudes that are just constantly dictating what the offense is trying to do, because, look, we can't block these 3. We know that you guys can't block Dallas Turner. We know that you guys have trouble with Chris Braswell. But the defensive line should take it as a chip on their shoulders. Like, no, we're the biggest dudes on the field. You should be worried about us and nobody else. And if they implement that type of attitude into the game on Saturday, I'm going to tell you what, it's going to be a rout. Because we got the skilled players everywhere else. If our defensive line is in the backfield creating havoc, and they're not going to know what to do. Turnover city.
I agree.
Turnover city.
Smook and I, we got at it earlier in the group chat, but I'm a little more critical because I guess I was spoiled from, y'all know we were spoiled for a long time with the Jonathan Allens, and they don't grow on trees, and the Deron Paynes and the Quentin Williams and the Christian Barmore, like that, I feel that we have that type of potential with a few guys that are on campus, but they're young. I think James Smith is going to be one of those guys. Jaheim Otis with another year probably be one of those guys. He's on his way now, but I just don't. Just the defensive coaching me, I don't want the Jokers getting nothing on the ground. I don't want nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that they're doing a bad job. It's just that I expect
you got the bar set so high.
Yeah, it's because I had the bar set so high. It's like your child is a straight A student, but they bring a 90 home or 88. You're like, what? But some people they're like, man, that's great. What are you complaining about? That's an 8. 90's an 8. But me, man, it's like I just wanted to get back to the days where we're not giving up nothing. And man, if we like get to that point to where the D line catches up with the linebacker play and the secondary play, because I think the D line play right now is maybe a B plus. I give it a B plus because especially the last couple of weeks, it's been an A with the pressure we've been generating. So I give it an A the last couple of weeks, but we started off a little slow, and because the secondary and the linebacker crew they've been A's. If we can get that D line play to an A where we just dominating just completely across the board up front, man, nobody will be able to do nothing with us. Nobody. And we're looking like we're talking about like a 2016, 2015 type of Bama defense. If we can get that D line to that level, I mean that's asking a lot. But I mean I'm pleased with the overall play. I'm just a perfectionist when it comes to the defensive football, and so I'm a little harder than most people. But overall, we're fine, man. I like what I've seen the last couple of weeks as far as generating pressure in the passing game. Now let's just completely shut down the run.
Chris, what is that high bar look like for you? You mentioned Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne. What is that? Is that multiple tackles for losses?
Smoke. No, what was Quentin Williams' numbers? They were ridiculous. Jonathan Allen's numbers, as far as like just whooping a guy and just. I want to see our interior guys just
that level
dominate, just push guys in the backfield, just dominate, or get off the ball and just knock somebody out. Like I wanted that bone crushing, that bone jarring D-line play that we used to have where, we'd be mad to give up 2 yards. Like everybody's to the ball and we're just like we need to play on the other side of the line of scrimmage, our D-line. Let's play. Let's not stalemate. Let's play on the other side of the line of scrimmage. Let's get penetration. That's the word. More penetration from my interior.
That's the name of my OnlyFans.
You're right. I was just about to say you still my shit. Hey, so if I can go, I want y'all to look at something. This is the 2016 defense that I feel like this defense like resembles when they talk about talent spread and everything, solidity, and young talent mixed in, true freshman type deal. Reuben Foster was your leading tackle. We have a guy in Jihaad Campbell and Deontay Lawson who are trending and leading the team in tackles. Your next leading tackle was Ronnie Harrison, who's playing at what position? The safety, strong safety. He was your run support safety that year. Malachi Moore, Caleb Downs, those two guys are always in the second. I feel like the reason why the defense looks like they do is solely because of the way the defensive front has been improving. You go back and look at the Texas game, a lot of those conversions and third down, people I seen a comment by Elijah Petway talking about we can't get off the field on third down. They converted less than 50% of their third down conversions. Get out of here with that. And then you said they're not getting a push. Anytime you're playing prevent D and you could continue to keep offenses whose yard per carry average was coming into this game was 6.3 yards per carry. Coming into that game. We shut them down in the second half. We kept their yards per carry below 5 yards. You can't ask for more than that when you're trying to keep them from beating you over top. And then when you starting to get coverage sacks, we had multiple sacks this game. Somebody in the chat said Braswell can't seal the edge. How do you think we contain the run game with the Raptor package? You're running 2 defensive linemen out there. That's why you're not seeing defensive linemen straight maul. We've been relying on that package, that pressure package, and you probably won't see when guys they see that they're not going to want to pass against that. They don't want to put that quarterback in that situation to try to have to make that read in 2.53 seconds. It's hard to do it consistently throughout a game, especially when guys are athletic. So I think the D line is continuing to progress. Can they get to that point of that dominant level? Yes, I see it coming. We love to talk about that 2016 defense and the non-offensive touchdowns. We didn't see them snapping to against A&M. Minkah Fitzpatrick had 3 picks in that game. 2 of them went back for pick 6, didn't it? This is the time.
What that Sunseri? That was Sunseri 20 what year? What year was that with Sunseri?
That was the year they played Mike Evans.
Yeah, that was 2012 or 2011.
2014.
Yeah, my fault.
13.
Yeah, it
But
was
on
one
that
of them when
2016
was
team,
going crazy, bro.
but on that 2016 team, they had Jonathan Allen, who had 16 tackles for a loss that year.
Bro, do you don't think Jaheim Otis and Tim Keenan are trending in that same direction? And we didn't even run the same style front now.
Hold on. Dalvin Tomlinson was right there next to him. Right. I mean, I'm just saying, like, these are multiple defense. I'm not saying the season's done. I'm just saying we need to see it. And now's the time.
You talking about total tackles and activity, bro. These boys are I mean, the numbers are going to be different. This is a different style of play calling we playing against in these teams, especially in the SEC. We don't see run heavy teams as much as 2016 was getting the last bit of that era of offense. So that's all I'm saying. I think we're more equipped now.
One more thing I can say is they have been keeping our linebackers clean.
Yep.
You know, so I remember, man, like when a certain D tackle was in there, he was getting blocked into our linebacker's lap. Y'all know.
So
he didn't just leave, did he?
Does it rhyme with jail?
Does he eat kale?
Is he in jail and getting out of bail?
and applied at Yale. Should have been at Yale.
Does he turn pale? We got heat for y'all tonight, baby. Go ahead, Ty. Go ahead. Ty looking at us like, man, Dak gonna get it.
Ty, hey, sorry. You know how we do.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, right?
Look, Justin out here, we acting like it's a substitute in the house, bro.
Yeah. I know. I gotta. Damn it! Hold on. Order.
Order.
No.
Order in the court. Order in the court.
Let me straight up my camera.
So, no, guys, we need to talk about this game this weekend because this is going to be a tough one. I'm going to just level with y'all why. This is the one game and LSU on the schedule you look at, and if you are being 100% down the middle, unbiased, you're like, this is a game that Alabama could lose. Max Johnson is a veteran quarterback. They have got really good wide receiver play. Evan Stewart, Moose Muhammad, Noah Thomas, Amaya Smith. That defensive front they have has generated 20 sacks this season. Alabama has given up 20 sacks to teams that don't have that level of talent. Now, Texas has got a great defensive front, but they're the only team Alabama has faced with a defensive front that can even begin to contend with the defensive front that A&M fields. A&M fields one that has got so many 5 stars loaded on it that it's actually ridiculous. They lost some guys to the transfer portal, but you would never know it looking at that room right now. That's how talented they are. I understand. Starting quarterback goes down, but we can't act like that offense isn't still humming with Max Johnson. Reuben Owens, very talented running back, former 5-star. He can get active in the passing game. Alabama is going to need to play their best game of football. And guys, unfortunately, A&M is one of those teams. They play Alabama different than they play the rest of the year. Right? We can talk about who A&M has been up to this point. We've seen this time and time again. We've seen this movie. A&M will show that they're a team that's up, down, all around, and then they'll play Alabama and they'll look like the mighty Bears. Right? I don't know. It's just a totally different team.
I agree.
This is a tough game, and there are some places that have Alabama losing this game, and I think it is that close. Chris, talk to me.
I was actually, can I be honest? I was more worried about the Ole Miss game than I am this one. And let me tell you why. Because going to Ole Miss, we were coming off of South Florida. We look horrible. But after seeing the last 2 weeks, I'm more comfortable. And then we already got that loss out the way. Now we can play a little looser, even though so our guys know they have no room for error. Early when you're undefeated, you're playing on pins and needles. You know, you're trying to be perfect, you're playing not to lose instead of playing to win. Now I feel like we're playing to win out. It's a different mindset because we had that loss already. So those guys are coming in, and then especially with the comments that Maurice Smith's little brother made, that's going to add more fuel to the fire. And I believe that Saban is back. I believe that it's going to be I believe he's going to give one of those all-time great locker room speeches.
Look at Lushan.
I think he's going to give one of those all-time locker room speeches, Smook, before we
Not like that,
Atlantic.
I'm right there with you, bro. This game is not going to be as close as I think people want it to be. This defensive front is nasty. I give it to y'all. But I really feel like not only is the O-line got something to prove, but this defense, they hearing this chatter about these wide receivers. And this secondary has been tested every week, man. Every week, whether it was in run support or the passing game, I feel like they've been fairly tested. And we saw Caleb Downs' growth from Texas to Mississippi State game. His pick came off of the same design style play that Texas scored on him on. The same style design. He could have easily jumped that dig route early, like he did against Texas, but he maintained his depth and was able to identify the other deep route coming from the outside and play your position, do your job to the fullest. And he keyed it. And guess what he did? He didn't leave the quarterback's eyes. He kept until the ball was in the air. He was on the quarterback eye. Those small things let me know that something different is happening on the Alabama defensive side, which is going to keep us in the game long enough for that offensive line to lean on that defensive front. And I don't think they're going to want to rotate as deep because they're going to rely on that first group rotation.
Yeah,
that first group rotation is nasty. They're not going to want to rotate deep. If they get any type of penetration or disruption, they're going to want to keep that consistent.
Lushan?
I mean, like Smook said and everybody said, their defensive line has a lot of 5 stars. A lot of big, a lot of mean, nasty dudes on there that can move the pile and create a lot of pressure. But I think along with that, we actually might gain something because they are that big. I feel like our linemen have a real good shot to out-leaning them in the game because it's going to be a dogfight. I mean, let's be honest. But I also feel that we have better people around our offensive line than they have, in their defensive line. Because if you look at it, it's not even close. You got our tight end group. I'm telling you, Dupree and Niblack are about to go O.J. Howard and Irv Smith, but it's about to happen in one game. And their secondary, I'm telling you, Jermaine Burton, we didn't see him last game, but I'm telling you, them crispy new hands he picked up in the offseason, which, we was talking about in the offseason, we was worried about, but he cleaned them up, and I fully expect him to go off Saturday. And on the defensive side of the ball, listen, I take it really personal when people take, shots for no reason. But then you're gonna talk about, I know what Nick Saban wants. Like,
go look.
Like what kind of cryptic weirdo stuff was that? Like that was really.
Did you talk to a voodoo board, my guy? Like, how do you know what Nick Saban wants? Nick Saban don't even know what he like. The fact that he went on an interview and said that and stood by it and put his foot in it twice.
SEC Media Days, he said he talked bad about Bama then. He said, "Oh yeah,
he did.
They know what's up coming in." I was like, "Oh wow." So
listen, and Terrion said it. Like, you gonna say what? Okay. And you know what? We got some dudes on our defense that will pop you. I'm gonna tell you what. Blackshear, I'm gonna tell you what. I think this might be the game. This might be the game. Kendrick Blackshear goes off for about 12 tackles, 3 sacks, and like 2 forced fumbles.
Real talk. This might be the game where he get ejected for targeting. I feel like Blackshear got this freaking the way he's been trying to take people out, bro. I'd be scared. Him and Justin Jefferson on special teams too. Like, let's get this dude in the rotation somehow.
Kendrick Law on special, man. I'm telling you what. So there's gonna be some contact Saturday.
Yes, sir.
I hope. We've heard them say they're playing pissed before. It didn't look good. And I hear you about it being personal. Jimbo Fisher made it extra personal last year, did he not? More personal than this was.
No, because you know what he did in his interview?
He called Nick Saban a clown.
He did.
Talking about?
But
he made it way more personal last year. Ain't no question what was more personal. I know what Nick Saban wants as compared to I know where Nick Saban hides the bodies. The guys
Yeah.
who think he's not up, come
Facts.
on, that
Facts.
ain't even close.
Ooh, I'm feeling
That
tight.
ain't
Hey, y'all
even-
see
It didn't
Ty with
affect
the
them last
That
year,
ain't
though.
even close. That ain't even close. Those aren't even in the same universe, my guy. And it was a what point win? Like we barely got out of there so I hear it. But emotions, we've talked about Nick Saban was smiling early this year and college football needed to watch out. They almost lost to USF. So that smile didn't help them against USF. And they were so pissed off after Texas. That pissed off didn't help them. I'm tired of the emotions, guys. They're playing emotional. They're not playing with emotions. Like at a certain point, they got to show up and play football.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hear you, but at a certain point, like it's been made personal before. I've heard how personal it's been. And then USF got in their ass.
Yeah.
So show me how personal it is. And I hear y'all, but guys, we need to be real about this. This Texas A&M team, they're number 1 in tackles for loss, number 1 in sack percentage, number 2 in sacks, number 3 in third down D, number 5 in total D, number 8 in yards allowed per play, number 11 in first down D, number 12 allowed in yards per carry. Like this is not just a defense that we can overlook. This is a real defense, and they're prepared. So, Lucian, I don't want you to think I'm coming at you, my guy, but like we've heard about the emotions before.
No, just
And
not
it's
come
not-
back.
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. But like, that's what this is all about. But we've seen the emotions before. We need to see it show up on the field. And this is a great opportunity. I think Alabama can win this game. Don't get me wrong. But like, it was personal last year. So it being personal didn't make it any better last year.
I don't think that's what Terrion was getting at. Well, I felt like Terrion was getting at that he made the comment seem so insignificant that it was just going to be football is what I was getting at.
Yeah.
He didn't want to make it personal. What I was saying is Terrion said, what? No, we're going to play football. And that's what it's going to be about. He didn't want to, it wasn't talking nothing. All I was saying is simply that Terrion basically said, I heard him. And it didn't mean nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, my frustrations are not with you. My frustrations is with the team and how much we've heard it's personal. I'm ready for them to show us because this is a team that can win a national championship.
Let me say something. Y'all remember the last time that Bama's O-line was like criticized, and they went into a game where they were supposed to have been just
UGA.
Jordan,
I literally was just
Right
thinking about
game,
that.
right game.
That defensive front of
O-line.
UGA. Seth McLaughlin, who was the leader in that front. Come on now. He knows that snapping problem. They had to address it in the interview. That doesn't go over well in the locker room when you have to address issues as a player, when the player has to answer a question and put himself out there. Oh, dang, I got to say the right exact thing. Like that doesn't go over well in the locker room. Matt, you and Chris can attest to that. Like that doesn't go over well. So I think that's going to be a focal point. And I believe that small thing right there is going to set the tone and how we attack that defensive line, this quarterback center exchange.
Yeah, let me give you my 2 cents. Like, I want to talk about the similarities. Like, Texas A&M, they had a big loss. They lost on the road in Miami. We had a big loss. So, both teams kind of got both losses out the way. But I will say, I think our road leading up to this game has been a little bit more challenging than their road. Yeah, they played Auburn. Yeah, they played Arkansas. Guys, we had to go against Lane Kiffin, Jackson Dart, Will Rogers, USF on the road, looking like crap, playing, just not having no identity, looking the worst. So I think all this plays into us leading up to the in College Station. And I think these guys are going to be coming prepared because they're going to hear so much about how great this defensive line is. We Texas A&M always plays us really, really, really tough. We've already kind of got that road game versus Mississippi State. This guy, something clicked that second half of that Ole Miss game.
Yeah, man.
This is a totally different team. These guys not really doing all that talking. You're not hearing all the pissed off, like Ty was saying, like Lucian was saying. These guys this new team that I've seen seems like a different type of animal ever since the second half of the Ole Miss game. So I think these guys are going to be locked and loaded, ready to come in there. But it's going to be a dog fight. Let's not get it twisted. But I think Saban's message is going to be like, listen, everybody's believing Texas A&M is going to win this game, and this is going to be this is kind of our playoffs right here. Like, this is kind of the de facto SEC West. Say what you want to say. SEC West championship, if you want to, you want to say it there. So I think Saban's going to have these guys ready. I think Reese is going to have Milroe ready. I think Milroe's going to be ready. Listen, we got Texas boys on this team. Milroe's going back to Texas. Blackshire's going back to Texas. It's nothing like going back home and you have that same familiarity. You're like, oh, man, I'm really about to show off. I'm really about to go off. So I think these Bama guys are locked in, and that's my 2 cents.
Hey, and another thing, man, I believe like our guys learned a lot from that Texas game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and like they say, like Ty has said that some people have us losing, but I really believe that some people don't believe that. They just hate Bama because you ask them.
Desmond Howard,
the show.
Texas.
He picked against Bama. He look like a fool every time. You know what I'm saying? But I believe that Ole Miss game and what we did in Mississippi State last week on the road changed a lot of people's perspective of this team. Your guy even alluded to that. What's his name? Works for Joel Klatt.
Yeah.
He alluded to that. He said that he feels that Bama's gonna run the table from here. But I mean, this will tell us a lot. We go in here and handle business, then I think that we'll end up. But I feel more confident now than I did 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Smoke, what you feeling?
I'm on this spectrum of that upward trend, man. I'm really bought into this upward trend. And anything up from where we ended last week, just like I said against Ole Miss, anything up from where we're ending these games the last 2 weeks, it's going to be hard to beat us. We will have to beat ourselves literally. I'm saying this because I'm seeing progression, steady progression in each area of concern from week 1 up until now. You're talking about Milroe, his growth in the passing game. I'm seeing steady progression in that. More so, I saw more improvement. People may look at the numbers, but I saw more improvement against Mississippi State with the 12 pass attempts than the improvement I saw against Ole Miss. I think he had 17 or 19 attempts or something. It was less than 20 attempts again. So, and then the coaching staff, play calling with Tommy Reese, the ability to lean on the run game and trust, not every one of them is going to be a 4+ yard carry, but is doing what it's supposed to do. We have the personnel to carry out a game plan. And Marvin Constant said something. Go ahead, Matt.
No, go. I just want to give you my 2 cents.
Marvin Constant said something on the show the last show on the Bama Standard. He said the play calling, the game plan, it felt good to see a game plan actually work. Even though we want to see more points in the second half, to come in with an initial game plan and not having to see so many adjustments having to be made to where you get away totally from what needs to be done, that felt good to see in that Mississippi State game, because that's literally what happened. We had consistent ball movement. We had our averages right where we wanted to be. So do we want to see that turn into more points? Yes, but the growth is there, guys. This game for Alabama means more towards the rest of the season than I thought it would mean, because I thought Texas would tell us more, and it did. But now, yeah.
And I'll say this real quick. When I look at Texas A&M, I just see speed. And Nye Smith, I mean, they got Evan Stewart. I mean, these guys got so much speed, and that's what I think Alabama's going to have to really prepare for, and their front four. But at the same time, looking at the X's and O's, we've seen this before. Bobby Petrino, he's an offensive genius. Oh, he's got these guys looking so good. Even when he was at Arkansas. But when it comes to playing Saban's always knows how to defend and really get after him. So I think that's going to be the difference. I think him still going to be locked in their bag. I think you're going to see some things that I think you're going to see a totally different Bama team. And at least I hope for. I'm going to go ahead and give you my players of the game. We mentioned Mika Fitzpatrick earlier. I think Caleb Downs is going to have a Mika Fitzpatrick type game versus Texas A&M. I look at Kool-Aid. I think Kool-Aid needs to have a big-time game in this game. And offensively, I just think the offensive unit as a whole is going to look really good. Ty Hayes, your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I have Bama winning this game by at least 10, but I don't think this is going to be a cakewalk. I see a lot of people saying Alabama is going to come in here and just like have no opposition across from them. And I just don't see that, right? And and nobody here has said that, but I've seen on Twitter, right? Which once again, that's an awful place for information. That is just the worst. And Lucian, man, I didn't want you to think I'm sorry. Jimbo just gets me fired up with the ultimate disrespect of Nick Saban. And this Alabama team, guys, they are so talented. But we've heard so many times about the emotion. I want to see them use emotion but not play emotional. This weekend, someone already said it in chat, it's do or die. Right? It's do or die.
Yep.
They have the ability to show all of college football, hey, if you wrote us off, you made a big mistake. Because I think a lot of people have wrote this Texas A&M team off. And when Alabama beats them, you're going to hear a lot of people try and say, this Texas A&M team wasn't good. I saw someone in the chat say I was kind of taking up for Texas A&M. It's because when Alabama beats them, I want people to realize they beat a good Texas A&M team. This was not a slouch team that other people will try and say. So give me Bama by 10.
31-20, baby. 31-20. Bama.
Lucian. Smoot.
I'm going with my original. I'm going 38-17, and I'm not talking about like a blowout 38-17. I'm talking about a real close, hard fought. We getting early, maybe 2 early scores. That's 7 points. And then, some key field goals early in the first half and stretching it out in the third quarter and holding on to it in the fourth quarter to where we just frustrate their offense enough to where they're not producing. They may move the ball a little bit, but I don't see them really just overcoming this defense, man. Our secondary is peaking at the right time. And I think the defensive front will show up even more this game, our defensive line. MVP, I'm going to go with I think Malachi Moore is going to have multiple picks this game. I know Caleb Downs is over top, but I think Malachi Moore is going to play aggressive in that quick passing game that they like to get into. And I think that's going to play to his favor because Mac Johnson is not shy about letting that ball go. So I think that somebody in the secondary is going to have a crazy game.
And you know who's back healthy? Jaden Key. He didn't have that black sleeve on him versus Mississippi State. So I think that's going to help our defense a lot as well.
Was you able to confirm the rumors we was hearing about Tony Mitchell in the second group?
I listed on the second group.
If it ever comes to Tony Mitchell seeing the field this year, how excited? I mean, how I know we want to see that, but how does that play out with him and Caleb Downs out there? Do we even put that situation out there, or does Amos come in at the start and then
it was Ronnie and Minka?
Listen, Saban got so many cards.
They're not freshmen no more.
Saban got so many cards he not showing. Just what happens if we throw Justin Haynes out there in a different package?
And Jam Miller.
Listen, Saban.
He from Texas too.
A lot of this is by design. I'm just telling you like it is. I know it don't look all that great, but I think you're gonna see a different Alabama team come Saturday. It's by design because it's leading up to this game.
I'm calling it now. It's going to be a newcomer that's going to make a key play in this game. A newcomer offensively. It's going to make a key play. Justice Haynes. He's going to get a shot.
I think he's going to get his shot this game. Them last 2 carries he had at the end of that game.
See his balance. I was like, oh my.
Matt, that was stupid, bro. Like, I'm sitting there. I'm like, did he really just do that? And they say his hip hurt. Lies. Let that boy run the ball. Let that boy. Ain't that wrong with that boy hip? Ain't that wrong with that boy at all? Let that boy get out there. Jace, you going first. You might go early second round. You might go late first round, early second round. Right there, you might go third, second day. Y'all stay healthy. Let Justice get on in his thing and do his thing, man.
I still want to see Jam.
Lucian, we skipped you. I'm sorry.
Oh, you good?
What you think about Lucian?
I'm gonna say 45-17 Bama.
Woo!
I'm putting this on Milroe. I'm gonna put a big challenge to Milroe. He's gonna have a day, and our tight ends are going to have a day. And I agree with Smoot. We're going to get more interceptions, but I'm going to call it out this week, kind of like I did last week. There's going to be 3 again.
That's crazy. I'm thinking,
but I think Kool-Aid. I think Kool-Aid gets his first this week. I think he gets his first, and I also think James Smith shows up huge for us on the defensive line with either a sack in the situation or a strip fumble, and I think that's what's going to lead to us 45-17. Yeah, their defensive line's good, but I feel like the offensive line has been communicating better, and I think like Matt said, I agree. Saban's holding a lot back. We got a lot of cards that we ain't shown yet. We got 2 running backs that are for real would start anywhere else in the country, and we've seen them very little.
And we got a playbook that we just really not really opening it up. Like we just lining up and running it down the middle. And if you're not gonna stop it, we gonna keep going.
Why go from it if you're not gonna stop it?
If it ain't broke,
don't fix it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So a lot of this stuff, I'm telling you, is gonna be. I just think you're gonna see a different Bama team. I think you're gonna have to in order for us to beat Texas A&M in College Station because they're that good. You know, Jimbo, Petrino, Smith, Muhammad, Evan Stewart. I mean, Max Johnson's brother at tight end, Ruben Owens. Like it's talent. We just got to come out just showing these guys and having them like, dang, them cats different in Tuscaloosa.
Matt, real quick question for the panel. Do y'all remember the statements we was making about Milroe in the passing game? He had 20-plus pass attempts against Texas, 20-plus with dropbacks against Texas A&M. You remember how many times I was like, the reads are there. Wide receivers are eating. He just wouldn't trust the protection. I want y'all to think about this play, the overthrow to Jalen Hale on the sideline against Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Right? Do you remember that the overthrow where it was 3rd and 8? He overthrew him because he had pressure at his feet. Somebody was at his feet. Jalen Milroe doesn't do that against Texas. He didn't do that not once against Texas, where he just kind of stayed in the pocket and trusted the protection, tried to step up. It was physically impossible for him to step into that throw and make a perfect pass. But if you look at that pass, he put it in an area where if it was going to have a play on it, only person was going to have a play on it was Jalen Hale. You get what I'm saying? So I believe that small play right there is even going to be more give the offensive play calling. They're going to be more inclined to trust him in the passing game in this game going into A&M, looking at that type of growth. I want to get y'all thoughts on it. Do small things like that, small things like just making that attempt, going out of a game where you were already in the lead. Does that matter going into a game like Texas A&M?
100%. 100% it matters.
Especially with Milroe, who's somebody, I don't think people are really watching how good this guy's progressing from week to week. Like, you look at what he looked at versus Texas, and you looked at what he looked at second half versus Ole Miss, and you really look at how he looked versus Mississippi State. Like, I can only imagine what he's going to look like this weekend and on down the line. So, and the biggest factor is we got Mean Saban back, guys. Like, Texas game, we didn't have Mean Saban. Listen, we finally saw kickoff, Saban chewing everybody out, and that set the tone for the whole team. Alabama looked like Alabama on Saturday. So I'm just glad we got Mean Saban back. I think that's going to be another factor that nobody's talking about going in the game Saturday.
I'm glad to see a frustrated coordinator.
Yeah.
I think Saban's going to go berserk Saturday. Watch, because he wants this game. He don't want to lose Jimbo. I promise you that.
Yeah,
facts. And I'm glad to see a offensive coordinator who looks like he has a job to do, and somebody that looks like they're worried about losing their job. I didn't see that much from Bill O'Brien last year. He looked like he was, putting the best day of work at the office after every game. Like he was just on point. I like the fact that Tommy Rees looks like he's being put under pressure. That lets me know that Saban has put his hands back in game and managing these coordinators. Not so much Steele, because Steele got a staff over there on that defensive side. And Kiffin made the joke. Ty, you remember you made the statement about T-Rob, calling plays in the for the defense. I don't think he's calling plays, but I do believe there's a trust system there. There's a trust factor there with that defensive staff. I'm talking about from positional groups to even the analysts in that box to where they're communicating, and it's making it that much easier on Steele to freaking get his play calls in.
And with adjustments, guys, we're the kings of making adjustments.
Right? Oh my God.
I mean, you see Ken Wisenhunt talking, you see Charlie Strong, you see T. Rob, you see Cox, you see all these Wiggins. We know how to make adjustments. Come that second half, it's like a total. Oh yeah, we're up. Okay, we're gonna do this, and really be in our bag because we know what's coming. So I just think that plays along. I just think this team as a whole has not even touched. They got the ceiling is so high for these guys. They're just continuing to improve. They're continuing to get better. And I think they win Texas A&M this week, and I think that's going to be a springboard for this team moving forward.
The fact that you said that, Matt, they're just seeing it. My fear is that they don't continue to push to even see like the possible cap. We've had teams like that just they seem like they turned that corner and then they just stopped. They got settled. I don't want them to get comfortable or get complacent. If this team stays hungry, if they continue to get hungrier, nobody in the nation can really compete with us with a nasty defense and the way this offense can control the ball. If we continue to control the ball and build this momentum,
it's over.
It's over, man.
Well, everybody talks so bad about them. I think they got this me against the world mentality. You know, they already. No matter how good Milroe played, they're gonna doubt him regardless. You know, they're gonna doubt
his own fan base. Look, his own fan base do it to him.
They're gonna doubt the offensive line. You know, I mean, it is what it is. So these guys, I think they got the right mindset, and Saban's just using that to really continue to generate monsters. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's just trying to generate monsters.
This is what we here for, Will. This is what we here for. We want y'all to bring it in. We don't need y'all blood pressure up on Tuesday going into the game on Saturday, y'all. Wait till Saturday to start that.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's about that time. We know who's going last. It's late night, right? Okay, cool. So, y'all want me to I got some.
He been waiting for this. He been waiting, yo. He done set up in the
Go
chat
ahead,
and
Matt.
everything.
Go ahead,
Matt. This for you, bro.
Listen, I've been having Ty Hayes and Dan in my mind. Like, how can I, you know, keep the balance between going too X-rated and keeping the deep? So, you know, I was talking with Coach Saban like this. You know, I was saying, Coach Saban, you got the Dime Rabbits. You got the cheetah package, but you need to incorporate another defensive package. And it's the theme of my OnlyFans this week. It's the Alabama Black Snake package. You know, it is what it is. You know, we're good at deep penetration. You know, penetration in the backfield. And listen, since it's Texas A&M week, my promo code for my OnlyFans is Gig'em and Gag'em.
Who's up next?
Ty, how was that? Was that pretty good?
That was pretty good.
Okay.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked that. Who's up next? You want me to go next?
You.
Me?
Ty's the GOAT, man.
Okay. So, guys, like I said, I think that Alabama is up to answer the challenge this weekend, and I think that they are going to beat a team that is a more underrated team right now, and it's led by a coach that, quite frankly, I just don't get. But because I don't get Jimbo Fisher to such a high degree, I thought I'd run a special promo this weekend on the OnlyFans, brought to you by Shady Miles. So you can catch me on OnlyFans, Shady Miles style, Jimbo's Bimbos, Electric Boogaloo Part 2. And it's going to be an all-day event, and I'd hope to see you over there. It really is a lot more fun with the whole group.
With the whole group, the 12th man.
The 12th man, yeah.
I love it. Lushan?
You know, I guess my final thoughts is if this team just shows up and just has that attitude, that look in the eye that I've seen from a few of them, if that spreads to the whole team, I mean, it's roll daggum time all day. So I think we're going to roll. I'm going to stay far away from College Station and everything Ty's got going on, and Matt, you too. I'm not really sure what that is. But you can find me on OnlyFans, Natural Glazed Beaver. Promo code Fluffy Cookie.
That might one.
Fluffy cookie. Lord.
Natural
Oh. You
The
can
fluffy
well,
cookies.
first off, everybody find me on Facebook at Chris K. James Sr., on Twitter at Coach Chris James, on Instagram at CKJ Senior 32. And with the theme of this week, my promo code will be maxing out my Johnson.
Max Johnson, I like it.
Oh, maxing out my Johnson. 32.
We get canceled.
Coach Smoot.
Okay.
This
My chest hurt, y'all. I'm
I
sorry.
might not make it next week.
Yeah. Man. So y'all know y'all
Justin's
can
gonna
find
be
me at
pissed.
Coach Smook on everything, y'all. On every social media platform at Coach Smook. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for Cece's show, The Crimson Dynasty. We're gonna have her on again. Don't forget Friday, revamp pregame preview is lit. We got Coach Lucian in the booth this weekend calling the offensive plays.
He calling offensive plays? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I expect
No
that.
Bill O'Brien over
I
here.
expect us for him to call plays so he can gut them. You know, he can gut them up.
Carve them up like it was turkey dinner.
And if you all want to find me, y'all know this month is a special month for us Alabama fans for the past 16, 17 years now. We all know Coach Saban's birthday is at the end of the month on the 31st of October. And so over on my OnlyFans, I will be running a monthly special. You can still catch me at the Black Kevin Steele. That's my tag on there. And if you want to get the special membership for this month, the promo code is going to be celebrating Coach Saban and the time he's been at Alabama. The promo code for this month is going to be Coming of the Ages. The Coming of the Ages.
I thought it was going to be Goat Stroke.
10% off.
Hey, since
The goat blow.
Since my brother since my brother Dan couldn't make it on, Max his promo code is kind of goes hand in hand with Max Johnson's twin brothers, Glaze Johnson. I'm done for the night.
And that's the final whistle, everybody.
You can catch
Roll
the extra
Tide.
Steele Johnson over on Coach. Roll Tide, everybody. We out,
Roll
man.
Tide.
Roll Tide. Jesus.
Roll Tide.
Why we can't leave? It won't let me leave, y'all. It won't
Oh,
let me leave. What's the last one?
going.
What's the last one? It won't let me leave. It's frozen. It's frozen.
Keep going, Matt.
No.
Let's see. You said Coach Saban?
Matt's gonna be the 12th man.
It's for real, bro.
Yeah, you gotta get that.
I gotta
12
do
man
NIL
promo.
deal.
Here we go.
Do
Hey,
NIL.
we out. Roll Tide. Don't do it.
Oh, man. Y'all boys. Man. I was about to go in.